Всем привет. Dobry вечер is Minsk. Guys, good evening from Minsk. It is a Monday evening, and such a large contrast with the weather from yesterday over the weekend, because right now I'm hearing some thunder rumbling off in the distance, and it looks as if a storm is going to approach us. Yeah, so I'm going to make this quite quick, guys. Well, I have to say, what a very eventful last few days it has been. I deferred from commenting on, of course, the big news. Of course, that was the big news that happened in Moscow a few days ago. And man, I woke up on Saturday morning to await the news of a coup in Moscow. Check this out. Putin has fled Moscow, Russia, in the midst of a civil war. Hey, unbelievable, guys, unbelievable. So I decided just to close my phone for the day and went off into the center of Minsk over the weekend, during the Saturday. And yeah, and when I came back, it was all over. The shortest coup in the history of coups. That must have been less than 24 hours. Yeah. So basically, I will say this, guys. It's going to sum it up in 10 seconds. I want to tell you exactly what happened. So, some Russians went to Moscow. Other Russians tried to stop these Russians going to Moscow. Then the Chechens came along and they tried to save Russians from other Russians, and then the Belarusians saved everybody. And in the process, a lot of people got smoked out, and amongst the melee, some troops were moved around. And the latest I'm hearing, guys, is that Mr. Prigozhin and Wagner are here in Belarus. Truly amazing, to say the least. Yeah. Oh, absolutely incredible when you think about it, and the hysteria associated with it is just unbelievable. Western mainstream media, man. Just in case you want to see behind me, guys, here is a MiG. I think it's a MiG-15. I'm not too sure. Yeah, from the early 1950s, from the Korean War, or the Korean conflict. Speaking of wars. But anyway, I'm not here to talk about Wagner. Of course, I got a lot of messages from you guys asking me about what's going on in Russia, of course, in Belarus. You know, as I said, Mr. Prigozhin is here in Belarus. Yeah, so who knows what's going to happen. I was going to make this actual video before the events in Moscow overtook me. And of course, I received this message from Tatar, from one of my subscribers, and he asked me as follows. Hi Partisan, it seems you've had several health-related events, so how about making a small video sharing your experience with medical institutes in Belarus, probably comparing with an experience you had in Ireland and other countries. Regards. Thank you very much, Tatar. Спасибо большое. Okay, but anyway, good question, and I'm going to discuss this question. It's a very good, very relevant question. Now I'm going to compare the Irish healthcare system to the one in Belarus. And of course, in Belarus, you can avail of both public and private healthcare. The public healthcare system here, it's heavily focuses on primary healthcare. This is like patient-doctor local interface, and in many parts, many neighborhoods, you can find polyclinica or private clinics, places like Loda and Horizont and other places like that. So actually quite good. The standard of medical care here is actually quite good. And my experience of the Irish healthcare system isn't actually so good. Now, even though Irish hospitals, they're a bit more modern than the hospitals here, I've actually found the quality of healthcare back home to be, well, let's just say less stellar. You know, I'm reading the news from back home, and you know, I see a lot of these reports, like an old woman waiting for 24 hours before seeing a doctor at University Hospital in Waterford. That's actually where I'm from. And also as well, some of these reports, 1 in 6 wait over 6 months for dental appointments survey. And very interesting video that a lady called Anna Maria Ursan, she was a Moldova, she's from Moldova, but she was living in Ireland, and she made a video a while back about how she spent 18 hours in a public hospital in Ireland. I think it was St. James's, I'm not too sure, of just waiting for a doctor before she was treated. And yeah, it's absolutely incredible. Where people back home as well are waiting like 6 months to see a dentist, to see a dental for surgery, whereas here in Belarus things like that do not happen here. That has been my experience of the healthcare system here in Belarus. So for example, about a month ago I had to go and to see a dentist. About 2017 I actually visited a public state polyclinic. The wait was only about 5 to 6 days. I went in, I had a procedure done on 2 teeth on my top jaw. Both were actually done. I got fillings put in, and it didn't cost me anything because I was covered from my employment. However, and this is the however bit, of course, and I'm a foreigner, I'm living here in Belarus, I'm on a temporary residency permit, I have to pay approximately 170 euros a year towards the Belgostrak, which is the state insurance company here in Belarus, and that covers pretty much emergency healthcare. Whatever, if I need to see a doctor or a specialist, that covers me. For example, back in 2020, September 2020, I had an accident. I broke my right arm, and I went to a state hospital on the outskirts of Minsk, and I was seen by a doctor within 10-15 minutes. I couldn't believe that. It's absolutely incredible. And quite recently, I also had a procedure done on my teeth. I had a full checkup, full consultation, full x-ray, and that came to about 140 rubles, which give or take is about 35-36 euros, more or less. Yeah, so that's how much it was, by the way. Not too bad. And yeah, so that has been my experience with the Belarusian healthcare system, and I think overall it's actually quite good. I think it's actually on par with that in the Baltic states. However, it's not perfect, it's not all roses. There is a brain drain. The doctors, the medical profession here doesn't get paid good salaries. They work long hours, but that's, of course, that's the same back home, where many young Irish nurses and doctors, they work long hours. They don't get paid a lot, of course, back home, where the cost of living in Dublin is actually quite high. So many of them have actually had to go to Australia and so on, the Middle East, to earn some money and for better working conditions. So that is my experience, brief experience of the Belarusian healthcare system. You can actually come here to Belarus. This country does offer health tourism in this country, and I've actually referred people from the UK. The UK has the NHS to come to Belarus and to have medical procedures. Of course, the NHS set up in Britain after the Second World War in 1945 by the Attlee Labour government, has since been degraded. Of course, that's what decades of neoliberalism does to your healthcare systems. Yeah, so that is it. Yeah, there's a thunder rocking and rolling, guys. So that is it from a very stormy Monday night here in Minsk. So stay tuned, guys. I need to get home very quick because it's going to rain very, very shortly. And so from my neighborhood in Minsk, it is do svidaniya, do встречи, do побачення. Take care. Catch you later. Man, I don't want to be struck by lightning. Look at that cloud up there. That's one angry sky. Yeah. Indeed. Okay. Catch you later. Take care. Bye-bye.